is Pittsburgh Cable News Channel.
Have you seen that campaign ad for Jim Roddy that makes Larry Dunn look like, well, a dunderhead? If you haven't, we're going to be showing it to you momentarily and asking you for your critique. Is it fair? Is it effective? Is it politics as usual? Also today, an area man who has wrangled his way into the wrangling profession. He handles animals for film and television productions, a career that's sure to give rise to some good stories. We'll hear a few. Your calls always welcome as well. It's Cullen on Cable. Hello there. Good morning to you. Good afternoon. Whatever the case may be, one never knows when this show pops up on the air. Just before I came out here, I was busily at work at my desk, checking the Associated Press wire, doing this or doing that, and finding I was having trouble keeping my eyes open. You know how sometimes you're just tired. You're productive, you're capable, you can do it, but, you know, if nobody's around, well, Anyway, I bring this up because Larry Dunn, and anybody who's listened to me with even a modicum of regularity would know that Larry Dunn's politics and mine absolutely do not go together at all. I have rarely said anything positive about Larry Dunn on a political level. I have said on a personal level that I know him, and I find him a very, very nice human being. I also know the man he's running against, Jim Roddy, and I find him a very nice human being. So none of this has anything to do with personal stuff. The two of them are both Republicans, both seeking the Republican nomination in the primary election to be held in 1 week's time, actually exactly one month's time, exactly 1 month, for the county executive position of Allegheny County, the first ever. Now, we have been told and warned by political analysts in these parts that this is going to be a nasty kind of a race. Nasty on the Republican side, nasty on the Democratic side, featuring County Coroner Cyril Wecht and County Commissioner Mike DeWita. However, right now we turn to the Republicans, Dunn and Roddy. Have you seen the ad? Have you seen it? Oh boy. It's an ad for the Roddy campaign put together by Brabender Cox, a mightily respected political consultant group that has figured actually in some pretty nasty races around these parts as well. Anyway, let's take a look first. I'll try to stay awake. Let's take a look. This is the Back Talk segment today, and I will really, we want some criticism from you, yay or nay, 333 PCNC. You can get on the line now. Here it is. Hello.
There are two Republican candidates for county executive, Jim Roddy and Larry Dunn.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's back that baby up a little bit. Right off the bat. Okay, so clearly what they would tell you at Brabender Cox is they're contrasting the two candidates. On your left, you will see Mr. Roddy, who's paying for this ad. He looks decisive, alive. To your right, you see Larry Dunn, his opponent, who looks stupid. Like that, okay? Okay, let's keep going here.
Roddy and Larry Dunn. Jim Roddy's been a respected small businessman who has a plan to revitalize our economy and lower our taxes. Larry Dunn has been a county commissioner for 10 years, during which we've lost jobs and become one of the highest taxed counties in the country.
All right. Okay, I think this comes up again, sorry. You get the idea.
He has the vision and energy we need to lead Allegheny
See, he's
County
alive
into the next century.
and well.
As
He's
for
not.
Larry Dunn, you decide.
All right. Now, I have to tell you, my first reaction when I saw this was, "Ah, come on, that's dirty pool." Of course, that's politics, huh? Oh, wait, there's an earthquake happening now, too. Stop, stop. All right, well, the heck with it. Anyway, geez. Larry doesn't look too good there, does he? Now, let me tell you how you do something like that. Obviously, there's lots of footage of Larry Dunn around. He's been in the public eye for some time. You can take footage from anybody who might at any time be, you know, like, I don't know. Larry Dunn has said, by the way, that he was outside at an Arlen Specter speech or something, and that his contacts were bothering him. It was windy, and he was having some trouble with his eyes. Possibility, I don't know. Also a possibility, he's just, he was tired. Apparently, it's about 3 seconds of real-time video that the folks at Brabender Cox slowed down. You can tell it slowed down, so it makes it even more sort of weird looking. Now that we all have video cameras and you can, you know, stop at a frame, you can see that we're all capable of being made to look like fools, like idiots. You know, your one eye half shut, the other one open. We who are normally, you know, our faces are moving constantly, when frozen like that, can look silly. As a voter, what's your reaction to that kind of a campaign spot? Is it fair? Does it give you the information you want? Does it give you information you need? I have to tell you that the head of Larry Dunn's campaign has called it the dirtiest piece of political pornography I've seen in 35 years in this business. Well, that's a good little soundbite. I'll give Dennis Casey that. I don't know if it's not a bit of overstatement, but I do think, personally, that it's nasty, that it's unnecessary, and that in fact, while obviously making Larry Dunn look foolish, I think it makes Jim Roddy, well, it besmirches him as well, because he is the leveler of, not the leveler, what am I saying? Why can't I talk today? Excuse me. Excuse me. See, I told you I was falling asleep out there, and I'm not 100%. I don't think this is helpful to Jim Roddy. Jim Roddy is a gentleman, by all accounts, but I can tell. Jim Roddy is an intelligent, articulate man. What does Jim Roddy need to resort to that kind of schoolboy tactic? Brabender Cox, apparently this crowd knows what they're doing. They're spoken of in hushed and reverential tones by all of those in the political biz. Much of what I've seen from Brabender Cox, I think, is the kind of swill and filth that has polluted our political discourse. So I don't stand in admiration of them. And I think this is another case in point. I'm not squawking because I'm favoring either Jim Roddy here or Larry Dunn. I'm squawking as a citizen of this country, as a voter who's fed up to here. And Jim Roddy's got the gall to say, after people have protested some about that spot, quote, "I would call on Mr. Dunn to concentrate on the issues from here on out, and we'll do the same." Tony?
Good morning.
Hi.
Morning, Lynn.
Hi, what do you think?
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm a Democrat.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went to the courthouse. I switched my voter's affiliation to Republican just so I could vote against Roddy because of this ad. Thank you.
Do you believe that? Can you switch parties this close to the election? Do you believe that? Was he calling from the Dunn campaign? Do you believe? This is the thing about these kind of calls. You guys can say anything. I don't know. It's possible. He's offended by it. I'm offended. Who's this? Line one? On one? On one? Bob?
Hey, good morning, Lynn.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm just a little bit out of it today. Go
Okay, Lynn.
Go ahead.
So what?
So what?
So what about the ad? The media's been making a buffoon out of Larry for a long time. I don't think it makes any difference.
Well, you could argue that Larry's been making a buffoon out of himself for a long time.
Well, I mean, I think the media. I'm not a fan of Larry Dunn.
Nor am I.
And I'm a registered Democrat, and I'm changing my registration not because of this, but because of Clinton. And I just think that all's fair in love and war. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. There's no truth in advertising in political ads.
Yeah, but so what is? Oh, yeah, okay, that's true. But on the other hand, what is this? What? So it's win at all costs. It's ridicule the other guy rather than stand up for what you believe and be civil. I mean, I am sick of this stuff. It's childish.
Well, I don't know, Lynn. I just don't think it makes any difference. I don't even think it's worth worrying about. That's politics. I kind of like it.
Why?
I love these politics at each other's throats.
You do?
Politics. Sure, I do.
Because it's like a what? It's a spectator sport for you?
I think it's the American way.
Oh.
I think there's a bunch of checks and balances, and I just love to see both Democrats and Republicans fight. Thanks, Lynn. I enjoy your show, by the way.
Thank you. Bye. I enjoy you guys calling. You think that's quintessentially American? Let's turn in our passports. Oh, man, that doesn't say much good about us, does it? Well, okay. So far, I'm not finding a lot of allies here. I think it's outrageous. I'm sick of it. Up to here. Back with more of your calls in just a minute.
Cullen on Cable is sponsored in part by McCardle Surgical. Access your world.
Well, Larry Dunn has called the ad by Jim Roddy, his opponent, the television ad, a dirty trick. And they've actually said they're going to report this to some, I don't know, oversight agency for, what is it called? I don't know. There's somebody who actually supposedly oversees this kind of thing nationally. The firm who put it together, Brabender Cox, John Brabender, has said there was no attempt here to embarrass Larry Dunn. Now, see, it's stuff like that that annoys me. Don't give me a break. I mean, don't give me that guff. I can't think today. That is ridiculous. Of course it was there to embarrass Larry Dunn. Stop already. Give me... I take all this sort of personally because it's like an insult to my intelligence. This is how I'm supposed to... Oh, never mind. Here we go. Michael, go ahead. What do you think?
How you doing, Lynn?
I'm...
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, this has been going on as long as there's been American politics. And yes, you should see it as an insult to your intelligence. We should all see it as insults to our intelligence. But the problem is, and I heard your show yesterday, and I've watched your show a lot. What I've noticed is you can take the simplest of issues and you can just totally convolute it so that before people ever really get an answer to a simple issue, the questions have become so complex that after a while nobody cares what the answer is. I'm just going to go in here, I'm going to pull this slot because a bad vote is better than no vote at all. And our politicians today count on you to feel that way so that when these kind of crazy ads come on that do nothing more than rip into another politician, I mean, it's the nature of politics, you don't go in and question it. You just take it all with a grain of salt. We do this enough, decade after decade after decade, and politicians count on us to continue to do that way. What we have to do is we have to take a personal inventory on what these issues are that are out there. I mean, us as voters, and not just go in and vote along with the mob rules vote. I mean, you know what I mean? It may take a little work, it may take a little concentration, but we have to do it as voters and hold these politicians accountable.
Well, I agree. I mean, use your critical abilities, your intellect, your brains. This is appealing to the lowest, most idiotic parts of our nature. I cannot
Well, you know what the problem is, I've noticed? With a voter, they don't care about the issue until the issue is sticking it to them. If the issue never touches them at their home,
Well, that's true.
they don't care.
Yeah.
And that's our own selfish nature. We
Yeah.
have to consider not just ourselves, but the world around us. We can't function in a way. And look at what this last caller said. These are people you vote for who make value decisions on your lives. And yet we all sit back and we say, that's politics. You got to take it because that's the nature of politics. I disagree with that. And it really makes me ashamed sometimes to be a registered voter.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Thank you. I appreciate your call. Dorothy, hi.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
I watch you all the time, too.
Thank you.
And to be truthful with you, I think it will give Dunn more votes.
You think it'll backfire?
I think so. I think it's like a childish thing.
And it's, yeah, it could. It certainly could get him some sympathy. I mean, I don't think it does anything positive for Jim Roddy. That's what I don't know.
No,
I don't understand why these people don't know that.
In fact, I said it's very rude, I think, of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dorothy. Bye-bye. That takes us to Maggie. Hi, Maggie.
Yeah, then I saw that vote yesterday on McIntyre's show, and I thought it was terrible. And that just shows you it's just a Republican vote. Know what the advertisement. And if DeWitt was ahead, I would vote for Dunn. It's just normal Republican strategy. It will backfire as usual.
Okay, but this is Republican on Republican.
I know, but still, that's Republican.
Okay.
They don't care who they hit.
Well, okay. We have been warned, though, that this race is going to get ugly on both sides. I think Democrats are capable of this kind of nonsense, too. I hate it. Tim.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Go ahead.
I think you are very silly, and I love you. And I think that TV thing, it makes Mike DeWitt look. I'm sorry,
Larry
Dunn. Yeah, it makes him look really, really silly. I think it's humorous, but I think that I know that he's a good person. He really cares for the county, but I think it makes Jimbo look really sad and desperate. And as far as the young man who said that that's the politics and that's the way America is, I think that's a sad commentary on Americans.
I would agree. God forbid that is who we are. I want to just disassociate myself from all of it. Hey, Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Even if you called me silly. Why'd you call me silly? Irene.
Good morning, Lynn.
Hi.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm a registered Democrat. And I was sort of leaning toward Roddy if he got the nomination, but I definitely will vote for a Democrat. I sort of don't go for the two Democrats, but definitely if Roddy gets a nomination, I am not voting for him.
On the basis of this ad?
Roddy seemed like a nice man that knew the issues, but when they bring this into politics, that just turns me off.
You know, this Brabender Cox that put this together, this is the same crowd that did the helicopter over Klink's house.
Yes, I know. And
yeah,
that was
fine
back
people.
by Santorum, I think. He got Kersey or whatever his name was to use this, and that's dirty. And that doesn't belong in politics.
Talk to me about what are you going to do? Why I should vote for you? Don't do the silly stuff with your opponent's picture. I mean, give me a break.
I want the issues.
Yeah. I suppose next we'll see Larry Dunn on a Jim Roddy spot with a mustache, put on him or something. I mean, come on. This is like third grade stuff.
They're worse than little boys.
Yeah. Well, they are little boys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.
Not that girls aren't capable of nastiness. In fact, probably worse. Bert. Hey, Bert. On line 6. Gone? Not there? Barb, are you there? Hello?
Yes. If you need help, hang up.
Oh, I don't need help. How about line 2, Brian?
Yes.
Hi.
I was calling basically because, once again, we are stuck with the same old choices here. The ads just show it. These guys do not have a plan, and that goes for both Republican and Democrat. You look over the 4 candidates. You have Wecht, who the only thing that's really going for him is that it's been so long since he screwed up county government that nobody remembers it. You have DeWitt, who hasn't had an original idea in all the time he's been up there. You have Dunn, who gave us a tax cut, which we're still paying for out the nose. And then we finally have Roddy, who has tried running before and has lost. once again,
no, he's never run.
4 old people that do not have an idea, do not have a plan, do not have any way of implementing it, but they still want the office, and instead of having 3 commissioners now, we will have 1 commissioner plus 10 people below him. All we've done is throw more people into a bad situation, and let's face it, the reason the young people of this town are leaving is because they see this idiocy repeated over and over and over again.
Well, and a happy, positive day to you, too, Brian.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Gee, if I were Brian, I'd go back to bed. No, this kind of junk is all over the place. It's not just Pittsburgh. I don't think anyone's going to pack their bags when they see this, but it's depressing, it's distressing, I'm sick of it. And yet they say we keep seeing this kind of thing because it works. And I don't know, might make you start rethinking what you learned in civics class, that the American form of government is the best by gum in the world. Why, democracy, giving a vote to the common man. It's a wonderful idea. I wonder. I don't know. Anyway, okay, enough. We're going to the dogs when we come back. We got some great dogs here. We got a guy who makes a living handling them. I'll handle a few myself. I'll handle you, too, if you'd like. You can still call 333-PCNC. Take part. It's interactive. It's Cullen on cable.
The official transportation provider of Cullen on Cable is Pittsburgh Limousine, the one clear choice in transportation.
And I'll tell you, I'm about to have a good time, I know. The reason they're sort of tight on me is I've got guests. I've got guests on the desk. I've never had guests on the desk before. Hi, you guys. I have guests everywhere. First of all, the one who I recognize as a member of my own species is Tom Wilson. He is a veteran television and movie animal wrangler.
Yes.
I never even heard of that before, that wrangler.
Well, that's kind of a term, I don't know. It's actually got into training for commercials and things, and so I guess that's the name that goes with it. But
okay.
It's really a talent agency where we train the dogs for the commercials.
Well, speaking of dogs, what we've got here, who do we have here? Let's introduce some of these
These
guys.
are my wife's Yorkies here, and one of them was just done in a commercial not too long ago.
Who? The bigger of the two?
The bigger of the two, yeah.
Okay.
This is Boo, and that's Cupcake.
Ooh, you were in a commercial. How totally cool.
They're what we call teacup Yorkshire Terriers. They're the very small ones.
Okay, well now, you know, I'm looking at them, and they seem a little hyperactive. So how do you handle something like this? I mean, how do you make her do what she's got to do?
Well, the shot was very simple. All she had to do was sit on a scale and be weighed in a weight loss commercial for getting fat. Like she really had a weight problem. Yeah. But
up an ounce or two, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But these guys are all puppies. They're all just in training. We brought them along today just to show you some different dogs. They're 10 months old. They're all the same age, actually.
They're all 10 months old. Yeah. And this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful animal.
And he's a 10-month-old Weimaraner puppy.
Woo-hoo! And you are almost out
left.
of here.
I almost left.
Yes. Come over this way. Can you turn this way so we can see your beautiful head?
Turn around.
Do Weimaraners always look like they need some Prozac?
Well, I don't know.
They always look sort of depressed. You know what I mean? Look at that. You know, the world is not quite... Oh, you're just going to fall. You look like Larry Dunn in that commercial. That's what he's looking like.
He's really a very calm puppy.
Yeah,
sometimes puppies are not quite so calm, but he is a really gentle, easygoing puppy. And he's being trained now. He'll be one of our top show dogs next year, but he's also going to be used in commercials and things.
Okay.
So,
you know, Tom, you're more trouble than these animals. Now you've got my tape machine going backwards
what
here.
Did
what are
I
you
do?
doing? I don't know. You're falling off the set. We've never had anybody fall off it. This is the guy in control here, and the three animals are doing better. That's true. So how did you end up in this kind of bizarre?
Well, I've been raising show dogs and showing dogs and training dogs for almost 40 years now, and about 5 years ago, a very prominent photographer here in Pittsburgh, Harry Gillio from the South Side, has one of my dogs, which he uses for a lot of still shots, and he has a puppy from me, and he asked me to get him dogs for a commercial shoot that he was doing for Dad's Dog Food one day to do some new packaging, and the dogs that they had chosen and someone else had gotten for them just wouldn't do this. They couldn't get them to sit still. They couldn't get them to stand. They couldn't do anything. So I kind of rescued the situation by calling a friend who I knew had the same kind of dogs. They wanted Springer Spaniels in the commercial. So Harry started calling me to obtain animals when he needed to do still shots. And so we've done a lot of packaging. Rhett, you don't fit on there. But
I think they stopped at the corner bar before they came here. They're both falling down. Wait.
There you go. Now he's
there
fine.
You go. You're okay.
So it grew from there, and Harry started telling people where they could get different breeds. I have connections through a grooming business for 35 years that I've had, and being involved in dogs, that just about anything somebody needs for a commercial, we can get for them. I have the connections to get them.
What's the oddest request you ever had?
Pigs, baby piglets. We had to do and train 3-week-old baby pigs to pose.
Pigs are supposed to be very smart.
They really are, and when you get them that young, they're not too contrary yet. They're pretty easy to deal with. So we had a company up in Tipton, PA called New Pig Corporation, who makes absorbent materials, and they wanted baby pigs in their for their logo. So that's what we got them, was baby pigs. We've done some stills with baby tigers. We've done a lot of dogs, miniature horses. Just about anything that the art directors want, we'll get it, and they tell us what they want it to do. We train it, and we bring it, and that isn't what they want it to do when it gets there. Usually
they change their mind.
But we stay flexible, and usually the animals that are that trainable are able to do what we want them to do.
Who are the easiest, which are the easiest animals to work with? Would you say a dog?
Dogs, yeah. Generally, they're more receptive to the training, and especially if you choose well-trained dogs to start out with, then they're easier to work with.
Excuse me.
We've gone and gotten animals. The Humane Society and animal friends have all helped us out a lot when we need a certain animal that we don't have available. And we've always managed to get those adopted for them once they've appeared, because everybody gets to know them at the commercial and they end up finding a home. So we've worked with them a lot.
These guys are missing their mom, I can tell.
Yeah,
this one's starting to cry a little bit. Hey, if you got any questions, feel free. I'll share them. 333-PCNC. We'll be back with veteran animal wrangler Tom Wilson and a cast of thousands in just a moment. Well, I'm having fun, are you? What is it about animals? You just love them. And they always say, you know, do actors, I suppose when you bring an animal into a situation with either in a movie or in a commercial shoot for somebody, there are some actors who handle the situation better than others. I mean, you could have a human causing more trouble, actually.
We always have this thing that we'll get it right the first time, but then they have to, the human talent has to keep doing it over and over and over again. But yeah, the animals do it pretty well. If we've rehearsed it and we have it. The hardest thing we had to do was a commercial for Dads that we'd recently did that's running now with 14 cats in a schoolroom together. And it took a couple of months to get them used to each other so they would sit in a room with each other and not challenge each other and have a bunch of problems. And then to get them to do what they needed to do, which was some action shots of spinning a globe and a paper airplane flying over and a dog sitting, a cat sitting with reading a book, and another one with a dunce cap on its head in the corner, and all these things.
That must have been a rough shoot.
A lot of times, and yeah, and it was in a big old schoolroom in Pittsburgh, a closed-up school, and it was so hot, and they thought they could open the windows to cool it off. on the second floor with 14 cats loose. We said, no, that's just...
Not a good idea.
That's one of my jobs, is to make sure that the animals are safely handled all the time and that we don't do anything that would endanger them, because sometimes what they want isn't... They don't understand animals aren't capable of doing some of that. And there's so much stuff being done with computers today.
I was going to say that a lot of
animals
stuff,
performing it.
Exactly. I mean, it seems to me that I see a lot of stuff which clearly is computer enhanced, or
all these talking dogs on the flea product commercials and everything. That's all done with the computers, and rarely do the dogs do all that.
You know, you're bringing a memory back to me now. That once trying to shoot a feature for another television station, I was doing something with a cat that I had seen do this hysterical thing a number of times with a fishbowl, fishing. You know, there's a poor little goldfish swimming around, and this cat was always, you know, like batting at it, and I wanted that shot. It was such a cute little thing. Well, of course.
Trying to get it under lights and...
all of a sudden, that which the cat did all the time, you put it in that situation, the cat would have nothing to do with it.
Cats are very intimidated by the lighting and everything. That's why rehearsals are real important. And, you know, when we have a job like that, we work a long time on it before it actually happens, under our conditions, to make sure that they're going to be used to that situation.
So you have to be an extraordinarily patient
Very patient. And if you wait long enough with animals, you'll get what you want. And photographers sometimes have to learn that you just have to keep taking pictures till you get it, because it sometimes doesn't come out the first time, or you don't get exactly the look they're looking for. And the good animal photographers know they have to stay very patient and just be repetitive until they get the shot they're looking for, and then it's great.
I think a lot of people wonder when they see a movie and there's animals in the movie, if those animals have been, excuse me, well... hello, my voice just disappeared. Did you hear that? Yeah. If they both like turn at the exact same time. Is there specific requirements put out by the Humane Society or something when a film is being shot, or not? How does that work?
Well, they are usually on the set.
The Humane Society is?
Many times, yes, they're there, and they have representatives that come and maintain that. Now, for an average animal shot, that's not necessary, but when they start doing horses falling and that kind of thing...
Well, that's what I've often wondered about.
It's very well controlled, and the animals, they have to be assured that the animals are not going to be hurt.
Now, you look at something like all those old cowboy and Indian movies we saw as kids.
That was before, when it wasn't regulated.
You're seeing those horses going down. They had to have been hurt, a lot of them.
I'm sure they were, and that's where the regulations have come around from. But yeah, it's all controlled, and the animals are never jeopardized in any way. And even with the temperatures, if it starts getting too warm, they start panting. We stop and cool them off and give them water.
Now, if it calls for an exotic animal, you said you worked with baby tigers. Where do you get a baby tiger? I mean, you don't go to the zoo.
No, there are places that we connect with, and you have to be careful even where you take them, because there are regulations, like in the city, you can't bring in even kittens that are tiger cubs or kittens. Yeah, it's very closely regulated. So that has to be done in certain places and under certain conditions.
Well, these guys are calming down.
There always are sources for those things. It's just a matter of finding the right people that have the right animals that are well-trained and getting them to do what we need them to do.
Well, Tom Wilson's here. He's alive. The animals are all falling asleep. I swear it was watching. Did you watch that Larry Dunn thing? Is that what did it to you, too? There's something sort of contagious about it. I know. I know. I'm falling asleep, too. We'll be back. Started as a dog groomer, he did, or an animal groomer. Yeah, that's right, dogs mostly. Tom Wilson, now veteran animal wrangler.
Stay with it.
You still groom some, though.
Oh, yeah. We still have a very active shop, yeah.
Well, I have been told, believe it or not, you know, the old thing, sex sells. I mean, they use sex to sell anything these days.
Right.
Apparently, Madison Avenue and advertisers are now thinking dogs.
Animals will grab their attention grabbers. People just automatically tune into something that has animals on it, and it's being used more and more in commercials, as you see almost.
Well, you know, that like that Taco Bell dog. I mean, that And when that happens, do you start seeing a lot more people saying, I want a Chihuahua?
That breed had a tremendous increase in popularity this year, just based on that one commercial. And also another breed that's had a tremendous increase is the Jack Russell Terrier with the Fraser show with Eddie. People see these totally trained dogs and they think that they're all going to be that way, and they don't understand the work that's gone into those animals.
So that can be a problem. I know with the Dalmatian movie, that was a big problem
with the Dalmatians, and it's going to come back to haunt them a little bit because now they're going to do 102 Dalmatians, so there's going to be a repeat of that, or a sequel, I guess it would be.
Don't you think they should almost put tack a little thing on the end of the movie telling people about Dalmatians and don't run out and get one? These can be very difficult animals. They're not good kid dogs. They're not at all.
What happens is when any breed like that gets popular and explodes, you start getting people breeding them who don't know what they're doing, who start supplying the market just because it's there, and then the quality just deteriorates tremendously. Even in our own breed with Weimaraners, and I speak with this because I've been with them 40 years, but Bill Wegman from New York has done all this stuff with the dogs, and it's like the Weimaraner people are getting to where enough is enough, Bill. So let's stop dressing up the dogs and, you know, on Sesame Street, and they get popular, and then what happens is people end up going to the wrong sources for them, thinking they're going to get that kind of a dog, and they end up with one that isn't.
Well, what about Weimaraners? I mean, are they always this laid back?
Well, he's a very gentle puppy, and he was out running since 6 o'clock this morning, so we ran a lot this morning so we could wear him down a little bit so he wouldn't be too fired up here.
Well, you did it.
He's just a little too laid back this morning, but he's just a gentle dog, and that's his nature. They're not all hyper and like some people think they are. They see the worst example. She's going to cut off your machine.
No, that's okay. You want to answer the phone? All you have to do is put your little paw. Although you even if you jumped on it, I don't think
any well-bred dog that comes from a committed breeder that is breeding.
But how does somebody know it's a committed breeder? How do you know when you're getting a...
Unfortunately, the way it is today, AKC calls everybody a breeder that breeds a litter of puppies. Whoever owns the dog, the mother of the litter, the owner of record is called a breeder. And there's no distinction in that at all about who is good breeders and who aren't. You have to do your homework. You've got to go and look at their breeding stock, see where they're coming from, look at their history, look at what they've produced, and get some names of people that have gotten dogs from them. Unfortunately, that puts a hardship on new breeders starting out, but that's just something you have to live with, because if you're going to get a dog, it's like a 14-year, 15-year commitment, and if you don't get one that's bred properly, you're going to have problems. And so that can be a long 15 years or a very short 15 years, depending on where your dog comes from.
And would you, what is the caution if you're going to a shelter? You want to just give a homeless animal a home. What then?
Well, you look for a dog who comes up and greets you, I think. You don't want a dog that hangs in the back corner and is cautious, although those can turn out to be okay. Depends on how much work you want to do. Many times you're seeing dogs that are completely confused in the shelter that just got there not by their own means, and so you're not seeing the true dog. We say it takes 3 weeks in a home for a dog to really show you who he is, any dog that's relocated, and you've got to give them at least that long. Unfortunately, a lot of homeless dogs that are out there now are dogs that aren't breeds that people are very adaptable, like a lot of the pit bulls and things like that aren't going to adapt well, and it's too bad, but it's a sad situation, and I don't know what to do about it. But there are a lot of them that get into the shelters that are never going to get homes because they're not adaptable.
Now, a lot of movies, shooting in Pittsburgh. Have you been active in any of that?
I have done. This was my first movie. I've done a lot of commercials. I've done commercials for most of the major companies here that have done commercials in Pittsburgh. The movie that we just did was the one that's being filmed right now in Pittsburgh, Wonder Boys. We had 3 dogs in that. My wife had done movies previously, some very famous movies like The Blood-Sucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. I'm sure everyone remembers that nomination.
Favorites, The Blood-Sucking Pharaohs?
And Two Evil Eyes, which appears even every now and then on HBO when they don't have anything else to show. And we actually have 2 copies of those movies. She, at one time, had several snakes, and the snakes got work. She got work through the snakes, I should say. They got her jobs, and she was in those movies.
So when a big production like Wonder Boys comes to town, they will often use a local Wrangler.
Well, for the shots they needed, they just didn't justify bringing dogs from California to do do those shots. It was very simple to get animals to do that, and so we were fortunate that they called us and hired us to do that, and we love the work. It's really great fun.
Okay. Inspector Gadget didn't have any
No, there were no dogs in that. Now, I guess they're working on bringing Superman here now. That's going to be the next, hopefully, the
biggie.
next
Although that
movie
one
coming
seems
here.
to not be getting off the ground, which seems a little odd for Superman, but
right.
I know it.
Well, maybe there have been too many. I don't know. How many Supermen
seems
can
to
you
be
have?
in trouble. Well, Tom Wilson, a veteran animal guy, and now being called upon by the Hollywood crowd and commercial crowd shooting things here in Pittsburgh to supply animals of all kinds. If you have any questions, feel free. 333 PCNC. We'll be back. Hello, you. So this is a star of stage and screen. No, this, not me. In my dreams, you understand. Tom Wilson is a veteran TV and movie animal wrangler. These are some of the animals that have gotten work, right? How do they get paid, by the way? I mean,
I pay them out of the charge. We have a flat charge per day for the performing and for training and grooming and everything, and the animals get a cut of that. And but most owners go, use my dog. I don't care. I don't want pay. Just put it in the commercial.
Now, how do you know? How do you know where the dogs are? I mean, the city might be full of marvelous dogs and cats that would be perfect, but you don't know.
We're always scouting for new talent. In fact, we're getting ready to run an ad because we're going to take some new pictures and do a new catalog because we're always getting calls for different things. And we recently discovered a Labrador Retriever who runs out to the ice cream truck with the money in his mouth, and they give him the ice cream, and he brings it back to the house. And people are always coming up. They know what we do now, and they always come up and tell us when they have a dog or a cat that does unusual things.
So so if somebody's got an animal that they think they need to get in touch with you.
We definitely want to know about them, and we want to have them in our catalog because when the art directors call for something, we take them the catalog and say, here's what we have available, what appeals to you, what look are you looking for, or what do you want, and then we can go from there and tell them whether this dog is just a still pose dog or whether it's one that can be trained to do something, and so they work out of our catalog all the time. So
okay, how does somebody get in touch with you, Tom?
That would be through my the grooming business, which is where we operate out of, and that is Royal Dutch Dog Grooming in North Huntington, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And that number is 724-864-9111. It's for those emergency grooms. 9111 is our number.
Okay. So. It could be the future. I mean, the beginning of an incredible future for your animal. Al, hi. You have a question?
Yes. I was like, first of all, I have the German Shorthair Pointer, which I don't think the Weimarimers or the German Shorthairs look like they're depressed. I think they look very noble. And second of all, I was wondering if you think there's any easier dogs to train, if there's like a more superior or intelligent dog, and if you favor any training methods.
A more spirited, I'm not sure of the question.
Is a more intelligent dog, is there an easier dog to train compared to a lab or a beagle, or what is your favorite dog to work with?
Well, my favorite dogs are well-bred dogs. If they're well-bred from good intelligent stock, any breed of dog can be trained. When you run into dogs that are very hard to train, it's usually that they're unselectively bred, and they're bred from dogs that were hard to train in the first place. So if you stick with breeders that have high-quality dogs that are and see them and see that they're well trained, the parents will tell you everything about them. And if you see that kind of a dog, you can know that your dog's going to be very trainable too.
What kind of training methods do you use? Is there?
We use standard obedience. I learned to train dogs with what we call the Grand Dame of Obedience here in Pittsburgh, Gert Sullivan. Gert has been training dogs in Pittsburgh. Her and her husband trained 40 years ago. I started with them. Gert is a no-nonsense trainer. She doesn't do all the fancy stuff that people create to try to be different. She does. She just gets down to basics, and she teaches you how to train your dog. And if you want to train your dog, that's the place to go.
Now, I've often heard that dog training is not so much about training the animal as it is about training the owner.
Every class, and I run obedience myself, and every class that we start, I tell the class, every dog here is trainable. Every owner probably isn't. So, you know.
It is true, isn't it?
It is true.
Yeah.
Some people just don't get it, that the dog wants to be trained, that they don't want to be in charge of their life. They'll take it if they have to, but the dog doesn't choose to be the leader of the pack.
So a lot of owners who just think, oh, I don't want to say no, or I don't want to discipline him there, or this or that, they actually, they think that's being like mean or something, when in fact,
dogs in their own society have to comply with rules. There are rules, there's a hierarchy, and they have to follow it. And they don't have a problem with it like people do. They are glad to know where their place is and be there. People get a puppy, they think they have to spoil it because it left the pack, it left its mother, it left all these things, and pretty soon they've got a dog running their life. And it's not necessary. The dog doesn't want that responsibility, really.
All right, so train those dogs. They're expecting it. You guys were wonderful. I really appreciate your presence. Tom, you weren't half bad yourself. Thank you very much.
You.
And you, get a good night's sleep. Will ya? Honest. He must be overworking them or something. I don't know. He's out cold. I'm close behind him. We'll be back. That was fun. Tomorrow, political analyst John Delano. He's almost as cute and cuddly as some of those dogs. On Thursday, the author of a book about Hillary Clinton, Joyce Milton. The book, The First Partner. Thanks for joining us today. Hope we see you tomorrow. Have a good day.